I quit my six-figure job after hearing 6 words that scared the hell out of me. To others, I had everything: money, stability, and my parents' and society's approval. But on the inside, I was falling apart. I would lie in bed every morning dreading the day ahead, just bargaining with myself for another 5 minutes. If you've ever felt trapped by a job that looks good on the outside but destroys you on the inside, these words will be a wake-up call. These 6 words made me realize I couldn't keep living like this. Hey, I'm Tess. My channel is all about helping women 50 plus reinvent themselves and live their best damn lives. So I was making the most money I'd ever made. I was working at a marketing agency, so kind of like Mad Men, and it was never boring, but it was a constant grind, juggling over a dozen clients and projects at the same time, every day. So I grew up with parents who always just wanted stability for me. They were not the follow your dreams kind of parents. They were much more practical than that. And on the surface, I had that stability. But the truth is, I was unraveling, crushing anxiety, 3 a.m. wake-ups, migraines 4 days a week, and then going through menopause just poured gasoline on all of that. And this wasn't just stress. It was a full-on mental health crisis. There was one point where I really considered checking myself into a facility because I felt like I could snap at any minute. Oh, that was hard to say. But I did seek the help of a therapist, and she suggested that I take a leave of absence from work just to reset my nervous system and work on my mental health. And when I told my boss, I suddenly just broke down crying, which I didn't expect because I had never cried at work before. That was very out of character for me. But thankfully, my boss was supportive. And so I took a couple months off. But then literally day 1 of my leave, a storm hit and my home flooded. So that was not exactly the healing reset that I wanted. So I extended my leave to 3 months. But then when I went back to work, all of that dread just came flooding back. It was like I'd never left. Demanding clients, back-to-back meetings, and then the work was just helping businesses make more money. And that wasn't fulfilling to me, and it wasn't aligned with my values. And when I wasn't working, I was so exhausted, I had no energy to devote to anything else. The truth is, I wasn't living. I was existing, barely. But you know, in your 50s, most of us have been doing the same work for 30 plus years. It's all we know. So trying to start over from scratch just feels impossible. And you might get this. At this stage, we're sick of being on someone else's time. We have earned our experience, and we don't want to just keep making somebody else rich. We want to focus on ourselves for once, but it's still really scary to leave. And the thought of doing that until retirement made me feel trapped, like my life was already over. And maybe you know that feeling, just sitting in another endless Zoom call, wondering if this is what your life is going to be for the next 10 to 15 years. But then again, on the flip side, thinking, I should be grateful. This is the best I'll do financially. I would be stupid to walk away. And then came the 6 words that lit a fire under me. So this is how it went down. In one of our sessions, my therapist told me there was something that she saw over and over again with people my age. She said that people will just grind away at their jobs, pushing through the stress, the anxiety, the burnout, thinking I'll just do this for a few more years and then I'll enjoy my life in retirement. But by the time they retire, they're too sick to enjoy it. And those were the words. They're too sick to enjoy it, because all those years of stress made them sick, and that terrified me more than quitting did. I actually have a dear friend just a few years older than me who worked at a stressful job for years that gave her daily migraines, and now she's battling stage 4 cancer. And it really breaks my heart because she's a wonderful person. So, I've seen how this can happen. And from then on, I knew why I had to leave. My life depended on it. So I set a date. I picked my I quit day, and I told my therapist just to keep me accountable. And I also wrote it on a sticky note, and I put it on my computer so that I would see it every day. And it was like a countdown clock. 21 days to go, 14 days to go, 3 days to go. It was equal parts exhilarating and terrifying. I was scared. I was afraid of losing stability, of letting my parents down, of what might come next. But every day that sticky note reminded me that freedom was coming. So when the day finally came, I got on a Zoom call with my boss, and I told her I've decided to step away from full-time work. But I asked her if she would be open to working with me as a consultant, because I felt like freelancing would be a little less scary than free fall. And thankfully she agreed. We had a good relationship, and I knew that working with me on a freelance basis would be better for the agency than if I left completely. And today I'm a marketing consultant, and they are still my biggest client. And so that just goes to show you that once you take the leap, doors open for you that you might not have ever thought of before. Now, do I make less money? Yes, but I also work half as much. So in that respect, I make more money. I'm basically part-time retired, and I work when I want to, I travel when I want to, but the most important is that I am in control of my own life. I'm doing just fine financially, and I'm not struggling. I did cut back on a few things. I don't eat out as much, and I make my own pour-over coffee, and I don't buy as many clothes. And honestly, I prefer secondhand now anyway. And I am infinitely happier. I swear, for the first couple of months, I literally woke up with a huge smile on my face, just so relieved that I didn't have to jump out of bed and run to my computer and log on to Slack. And I finally have the energy for things that actually matter. I am pursuing this new endeavor, starting with YouTube, to reach other midlife women who might have felt the same way that I did, because we are such an underserved group, and we need to hear these stories of encouragement and inspiration, and we need the support. We need other people to tell their stories. I want to show women 50 and over that you don't have to grind away at jobs that are draining the life out of you. I wish I hadn't waited so long. I lost years to stress, burnout, and depression. Don't waste years like I did. So if you've been waiting for a sign to rethink your life, maybe this is it. Because money won't buy you health, money won't buy you joy, and waiting until retirement to fully live is a gamble you might lose. So here's what I'd tell you. Reevaluate your values. Ask yourself what makes you truly happy, and then brainstorm all the ideas that you can think of that will help get you there, no matter how crazy you are. Then you can narrow them down and figure out what's really realistic. Spend some time on this. It's worth it. In our 50s, we're in the second half of our lives. Do you really want to spend it the same way you spent your first half? Or do you want to spend it doing things you actually enjoy with no regrets? It is not too late to choose yourself. It is not too late to rewrite your story. And if any of this hit home for you, hit subscribe and join me here, because we are figuring out how to reinvent the second half of our lives together. Gen X women, unite, baby. And watch this video next to learn the 3 mindset shifts I had to make before I was able to start over. And never, ever, ever, ever forget, you're a bad mama jamma. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.